Hello, good afternoon. Welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, #1 tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I'm Nigel Seeley. Before I introduce you to Sean Calvin, I have to do the same thing every time. Please hit that subscribe button. We're approaching 9,000 subscribers. It'd be so good this week before the French Open if we could get to 9,000. And with your help, we can do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like, give us your comments on our bets, and let us know what your thoughts are on the shows. So loads of content here. You'll be mad to miss it. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll be notified of every time anything drops on the Betting Weekly Studios. Good afternoon to my co-host and our senior ATP Tour handicapper is Sean Calvert. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Another beautiful day here in Britain. Lovely.
Well, yes, and I was just about to enjoy the sunshine. We've got a busy schedule today on the Bet with Betting Weekly Studios YouTube channel. We've got 6 live shows, which I'm involved in 4. So I've got a build around. I thought I'm going to go have a nice little walk, get a bit of sunshine, go to the bank, get the builder some money. Lo and behold, I forgot to do the show. I had to come running back, and it's taken me about 5 minutes to catch my breath back. So I'm a bit struggling a little bit.
You got to get into your jogging or something. Get yourself at a good sort of base level of fitness. I say that I don't do it, so
well,
I don't know what
I was going to say.
I do play paddle.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason why we are doing this a little bit earlier today is because it's Sean's son Lagan's sports day. And knowing Mr. Calvert like I do, I'd be absolutely certain that you will be in the dad's race, surely.
I told you before, they don't do that anymore. It's not.
They must.
They don't. Honestly, I could do a whole show on this. Probably best not to get me started on this. This year, they're not, because Lagan's what they call a sports counsellor, which basically means they pick a couple of the kids from each year to sort of do the admin and sort of sit in on meetings and stuff. It makes the kids feel kind of important, whatever. I don't know how Lagan got picked, by the way, but he did. He's the deputy sports counsellor, I think. So he was telling me what they're doing. And, you know, to me, to you and I of a certain age, you know, sports, you just mentioned the dad's race. They've never done that. That doesn't happen anymore. This year, instead of doing, normally they do the running races, and if you win, you get a certain amount of points for second and third, and it's all in houses. So your house, Lagan's is the yellow team, you know, whoever gets the most points wins. They've sacked that this year. They've made it totally inclusive. So there's no points on offer for the running races. That's basically an exhibition. And the only points, according to Lagan, I'm not sure about this, is true, but the only points apparently you're going to get is in some sort of cup stacking thing where you just stack some plastic cups and run off. Well, walk off, because it's for the kids that they're incapable of running for whatever reason. So, but you get points for that, but you don't get points for the actual athletic side of it. So, it's all a bit strange. I wouldn't call it a sports day personally, but there you are.
Well, enjoy it whenever.
I won't.
Yeah, whenever you watch
it,
enjoy
like I do every year.
Get out in the sunshine, watch you cheer. You're probably not allowed to cheer nowadays. I would say cheer your kids, so you're not allowed to cheer.
Probably
nowadays.
Not allowed to do that.
Not allowed to cheer.
No.
We did some cheering yesterday when Quentin Halys won, plus
did.
140. Drifted, as I said he would drift, went off at plus 190. Can you believe that?
I saw that at the start. It was just before I had that incident with my car. I saw that the price go out, and then I was just thinking, it doesn't actually bother me that much if the prices go out. I don't automatically think, oh, he's going to lose. Sometimes people are wrong, and, you know, Halys should have won that much easier than he did. He was massively dominant. We'll probably talk about that in a minute when we talk about Halys, but yeah, it was an hour and a half spent sitting in the sun watching a video of Halys winning. So quite enjoyable afternoon, apart from the obvious issue with my car.
So you haven't followed us on our socials app because we were in, you'd have found out yesterday that Sean Calvert's tyre burst on the road and the motorway, wherever it was, and got a bit of stick for not being able to change a tyre. Yeah. I can't change a tyre, so don't worry about that. I can't do anything. Can't wire a plug.
I wasn't worried.
Change a Tiger. Never painted. Never used a paintbrush. Never used a paintbrush.
I remember you saying you've never done any of those technical things. And my dad was a mechanic. He's an electrical engineer and all this sort of stuff. So he did everything. And he did show me how to change a tyre in about 1990. And I do know how to do it, but it was 30 odd years ago. And I don't think the old memory banks would have been good enough. I wouldn't have trusted myself anyway. I'd have done something wrong and I'd have driven off and the wheel would have come bouncing off the. I don't know. I didn't. Anyway, the guy from the RAC was there within like an hour and a bit. So it was either spend 45 minutes by the side of the road looking totally incompetent, trying to put a wheel on myself, or wait an hour and a half for the RAC guy in the sun watching the tennis. So
yeah,
that one
all day long. And it's true. I've never picked up a paintbrush, never changed a plug, never.
We're going to get some stick on the show now, aren't we?
I don't. Listen, I'm a modern man. Paula does that. She's very good at it. I don't do it. I've never done it. Anyway, we'll see. Anyway, if you are much more manly than me, surely let you paint it. I've just never done it. I've always got someone to do it. My mate's a painter and decorator.
I can
do it. He always comes around here and wants a few quid to go to the pub. So I say, come and do it and give him some money.
I can do that sort of stuff, but I wasn't 100% sure of my abilities to change a tyre, having not done it for 30 years.
I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even. It would scare me. Put it on and then drive down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do. It's no way. Anyway, we're not here to talk about DIY. It's not a DIY show. It's not a sports day. We're not giving you lessons of education, what children should do now. It's about tennis. It's about tennis and betting on tennis. And we have 2 tennis tournaments this week. The tournament in Hamburg is offering some really poor matches to us tomorrow. There will be some better ones. You head across to the Bet Rivers website and you'll be able to get some better matches for Wednesday. But we've got some 4 decent matches, actually, over in Geneva at the 250 event. Start off with the match which sees the return of Novak Djokovic. Obviously, the legend, the GOAT of tennis, is not having it at the best of the times at the moment. Just recovered from another injury setback. Hasn't won a match on clay this year. He's up against Marton Fucsovics, who looked quite good in his win against Zizou Bergs in round 1. I thought it was very impressive. But
that was my lead, wasn't it?
He's got to overcome a 5-0 deficit. Djokovic leads 5-0. There's been some long matches between the two of them. A lot of games have gone the distance, especially in the best of 3 matches. And their only previous match on clay was at the French Open, which Novak Djokovic did win in straight sets in 2023. But it was a tie-breaking set number 1. Djokovic is minus 335, 255 Fucsovics, 3.5 the spread, 21.5 the games. Now, I would usually turn around and say to you, well, Djokovic will just come here and, he doesn't really care about the tournament. Just coming here for the money. But I think he's got to get some game practice under his belt heading into the French Open because he's going to be cold. He's going to be rusty and he doesn't want to lose here early. So I think it's been a bit of motivated Djokovic, obviously going for his 100th tour win, as we said on the preview show. But Fucsovics at 255, maybe a little bit short price compared to what he's been previously. But this version, Novak Djokovic, is nowhere near the Djokovic of old.
No, he's not. I mean, Marton Fucsovics is not going to get a better chance to beat Novak Djokovic in his career, is he? That's for sure. You mentioned the prices. Djokovic was priced up between 1.04 and 1.07. That's minus 2,500 and minus 1,429 in all 5 of their prior meetings. Now he's more like 1.3 minus 333 or whatever. And there's reasons why he's that price because his form has been awful by his standards. I'll come to the stats in a minute. They're totally non-Djokovic stats. I'll talk about Fucsovics first. I mean, I mentioned his great record here before the Bergs match. He was my lead, wasn't he, to beat Bergs, but I couldn't put it in because the prices changed. And he became favourite, did Fucsovics, but he won that pretty comfortably. Now, in Geneva, his record in total, 78% win rate, service points won and return points won a total of 107. Djokovic came here in a similar frame of mind last year, took a late wild card after struggling in the early parts of the clay season, but he only won 43% of his second serve points in the 3 matches that he played here last year. So and he lost to Machac, didn't he, in the end, after struggling past Hanfman. Hanfman should have taken at least a set off him as well. So it's not a given that he's just going to turn up here and click into his best form. I think it's far from that. He'll probably win this match, but I wouldn't be definitely sure that he would. Look at what he's done this season, the 2 matches on clay against Arnaldi and Tabilo. Tabilo wasn't even fully fit, I don't think. Service points won and return points won total 92 in those matches. And he's won 41% of second serve points, which is awful, really. I mean, I know it's only 2 matches. It's a very small sample size, but we know he usually struggles on early season clay, but not this badly. Normally he's had at least a couple of wins or, one tournament where he's done okay. This year, it's not the case. He's really struggled. Obviously split up with Andy Murray. That didn't work for whatever reason. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back to form at some point, but it does look a bit ominous for him, doesn't it? 37 years of age, 38 in a couple of days, actually. He's going to be 38 in a couple of days. The signs aren't great. If we look at, just bearing in mind the stats that I just said about Djokovic, Fucsovic's last 10 matches on clay, not including Roland Garros, where he wasn't fit last year, main level, 60% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 104. So his best stuff has come on clay in recent times, in Bucharest, where it's kind of slow and heavy, which it might be here. tomorrow because of the rain. We haven't talked about the weather, but I'll just briefly talk about it. It does look quite bad for the next few days. Rain today. Wednesday looks all right during the day, and then Thursday more rain. So it's not going to play as quick as it normally does here in Geneva. You feel like Fucsovics he's got to win that opening set. You know, Fucsovics is not the strongest mentally. I've talked about that before. It's always been something that's held him back. You feel like if he loses a tight first set, then his belief will probably go, which puts me off some of the totals and the handicaps and all that sort of stuff. But he has normally started well against Novak Djokovic. He's won either set 1 or set 2, or lost it in a tiebreak in 4 of his 5 meetings against a peak Novak Djokovic. This is far from that. So I think you need a decent chunky price on this just because of the way Fucsovics is. And I like the plus 185 that Bet Rivers are offering about Fucsovics to win set 1. He's had that match under his belt already. Djokovic is coming in here very, very cold to the altitude. I feel like Fucsovics has got to win that opening set. And, you know, this is a tournament he absolutely loves. He's a former champion here. He loves playing here. Until the mental side starts to get to him, which will probably happen later in the match, then Fucsovics to win the first set for me, plus 185.
Yeah, plus 185 Fucsovics to win set number 1. 29 different markets available currently on the Bet Rivers website and on the app. And it's an early start tomorrow, 6 a.m. This actually gets underway. So it's maybe, I think 7 a.m. actually gets underway. So make sure you get on before the match starts. So you haven't got the order to play yet, but we'll have to make sure it'll be a bit later on. But get on probably tonight.
Could be some rain delays, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you touched on the weather. We didn't mention at the top of the show. There is a bit of rain around, yeah, for the next couple of days.
Yeah, today looks pretty poor. I mean, I'm not sure if any matches have started yet, actually. Just bear with me a second and I'll have a quick look. Geneva.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, no, there's nothing played yet. Yeah, the weather looks pretty bad today. Doesn't look too bad tomorrow, but that can change. There is rain due, but it seems to be early in the morning and in the evening. So if that forecast is accurate, then they might get some play tomorrow. But Thursday looks pretty bad as well.
I've just gone out of the house for 2 minutes and I've come back and I've got terrible hay fever. I've literally walked around the corner. I can't stop sneezing. Can't stop. My eyes are watering.
I didn't know you had
a lot of pollen around there tonight. Sorry?
I didn't know you got hay fever, do you?
Oh, yeah, bad.
Do you?
Bad. Yeah, very bad. Anyway, I'm soldiering on. I'm a trooper.
The
next match, Taylor Fritz up against Quentin Halys. Quentin Halys did us the business yesterday, as Sean said. Was a major drift in the market, but he won well, exceptionally well, in his win over Jan Munar. So it's a very good win for him, actually. Taylor Fritz is the number 1 seed here. He was in this tournament last year, didn't really progress too far.
Lost, but he's didn't he? First round.
I was at the game, and he, and if it's slow, there's a bit of rain around, a bit slower conditions. It's not going to suit him. He's lost his last 2 matches as well. He got beat by Casper Ruud in Madrid, Marcus Giron over in Rome as well. So he's not in good form. This is at the time of the year that he doesn't really like playing. The European clay is a tough period for him, and he's minus 910. Am I missing something? Am I minus 910? 575 for Quentin Halys, plus 575. A guy who's played on the surface already, had a win at the tournament, 4.5 the handicap as well. Top 50, 21.5 games again. It seems cheap. I think the first set could definitely go over here, but Taylor Fritz at minus 910, that just does, and out of form Taylor Fritz, that doesn't look right to me.
No, it's shortened this as. He was bigger than that before. He was bigger than minus 910. And this price has moved in the last sort of hour, well, couple of hours or so. He's got shorter. I don't understand this at all. I mean, Halys made hard work of it against Munar. Obviously, I saw every ball of that. Sat outside the Southend United football ground, but he was comfortably the better player. I don't think there's any doubt about that whatsoever. 109 to 91 in terms of service points won and return points won totals in favour of Halys. 71% second serve points won versus 38% for Munar. And he didn't serve that great either. He only got 58% of first service. And it's not bad, but it's not great serve, and he would want it to be over 60%. But he won 77% of those points. He hit 57 winners, Halys, against a very dogged opponent in Munar that gets a ton of balls back. 57 winners. When he's playing well in quick conditions and he's healthy and fit, he's not an easy out, Halys, in the right conditions. This price is really lacking in respect. I mean, he's number 50 in the world. He's not number 146. He's just, had a couple of lucky wins or whatever. He's performed very well against top players before when the conditions are right and when he's fit. And Fritz is struggling at the minute. He's had a sort of lingering abdominal issue this season. Hasn't looked good on the clay. Started well against O'Connell in Madrid, then got lucky when Benjamin Bonzi retired against him. He was very close to a 2-0 win. Bonzi should have won that match, ended up having to retire at the end of the second set. Then Fritz lost to Ruud, okay, fair enough. But more worryingly, lost to Giron, as you said, in straight sets in Rome. And he had a good record against Marcos Giron as well. And Giron, I think he was well ahead in one of them sets as well. I think he was like 5-2 ahead or something like that. Fritz ended up losing in straight sets. So he's obviously not fully fit, or hasn't been this season. If we look at what he's done, it's a small sample size. He's only played, I think, 4 matches, but his service points won and return points won on clay this season, 99.6 Fritz, and only 47% of second serve points won. If we look at his last 50 matches on clay at main level, his service points won and return points won total is 104.4. So he's well down on his what you would call his base level, if you like, on clay. Halys has held serve 84% of the time on clay in the last 12 months, which is 1% more often than Fritz has. And he's won 79% of his first serve points, which is 4% more than Fritz has. Fritz has won 75% of his first serve points. So, as I said in the Munar match, the Halys serve on clay at altitude, it holds up well. You know, it's not dissimilar to playing him on a much quicker surface. It's also a first meeting. You know, Fritz has never played this guy before. He's coming in cold, obviously, Taylor Fritz, as I've said. He hasn't played since Rome. He's only played 1 match in about 3 weeks. The rain, I don't think it would favour either player for it to be slow. I mean, Halys certainly has the power to hit through even this court at altitude, even if it's on the slightly slower side. That wouldn't worry me too much with the power that Halys has got. So plus 3.5 games here for Halys for me. It was around about plus 138. Not all the markets were up on the Bet Rivers website when I had a look earlier, because this match is obviously tomorrow. But by the time this match comes around, you'll be able to move that toggle wherever you want it to be, and the plus 3.5 games will be roughly plus 138, if not slightly bigger.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I always like I've said this many times on the show, but I always like getting with opposing big servers on the handicap, because you get so many sets that are tight, 7-6, 7-5s, that when you get like a big handicap start at 3.5 or 4.5, it wouldn't surprise me to see this be 7-5, 7-6 or 7-6, 7-6. But it would surprise me to see Taylor Fritz win a set 6-1 or 6-2. So I always like getting with those when you get those big servers with opposing them with a decent start, and that's certainly a decent start there. Again, early start tomorrow. The markets will be added all throughout the day. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. As Sean said, move that toggle. You'll be able to get the handicap of your choice. Our next match is virtually a picker match. It's an interesting match, actually. It's Alexei Popyrin, a friend that done well for us on the show when we've gone with Alexei Popyrin, and he's up against Jacob Fearnley, the young British player who's making inroads into the top 50 at the moment, playing some very, very good tennis, and he's vying for favouritism against Alexei Popyrin, which is something he would never have thought. This is a guy who won an 1,000 event last year. This is an interesting match here. Obviously, they've never met before. There was an early flurry for Fearnley, and now in the last hour or so, the price on Popyrin is enticing people back in. Spread is 1.5, but it's a pretty irrelevant and a pick and match, and a total here very high at 23.5, which doesn't surprise me at all. But Jacob Fearnley's had a good season, and he's a player moving in the right direction. His clay court form has been pretty impressive as well.
He has at altitude, yeah. I mean, the jury is out on him at sea level on clay for me. As you said, the odds have changed now on this one from when I looked at it earlier, which happens all the time. I was going to say that I wouldn't be backing Fearnley as favourite, and that's really just because of the conditions, and perhaps that's why these odds have now moved in Popyrin's favour. I wouldn't be so keen on Fearnley on the heavy, sort of slower clay. He does have a better record on clay this season than Popyrin, which is probably why he was priced up as favourite in the first place. But 4 of his 8 matches were played in quick altitude conditions. One of them here, 3 of them, I think, in Madrid. And this could well be slower. We don't know what conditions are going to prevail when this match does take place. I would suggest it's probably not going to be quick. Certainly it won't be quick. How slow is it? That's the question. If you look at 2025 at main level on clay, they've both got the same win rate, 63%. Fearnley better. Service points won and return points won total 102 compared to 99 for Popyrin. So on the stats, when they priced this up how they did in the first place, Fearnley, you could probably make an argument that he was the right favourite. But the matchup for me, it's not as favourable for Fearnley as the one in the first round against Dusan Lajovic. He was able to overpower Dusan Lajovic. Lajovic likes it as slow as possible. Still likes to get a kick serve going, but he likes the very, very slow conditions. You can overpower Lajovic when it's a little bit quicker. And it obviously wasn't raining that much yesterday, so no surprise really that Fearnley was able to overpower. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do the same with a big server like Popyrin. As I said, the jury's still out for me on him on slower clay. Popyrin's a former UMAG champion on very slow clay. We've both been there. It's not quick there at all. He's also beaten the likes of Casper Ruud on slow clay this season at Monte Carlo. So Popyrin's got the pedigree in the slower conditions. Fearnley, I feel like he needs it a bit quicker. It still feels like it'd probably be a serve-dominated match. I don't think there'll be that many breaks of serve in this. I feel like I don't think I could back either of these players at these prices. I think over 2.5 sets is the way to go here. The total, I think, was 23.5, which is pretty big in terms of the number of
high for clay court.
Yeah, especially when it's not going to be sun out quick. It's going to be kind of overcast and on the slower side. But it feels like I can't see either player winning this in straight sets really, unless it's two very, very tight ones. So I would be going over 2.5 sets here, plus 123 it was with Bet Rivers when I looked earlier on.
Looks a nice price, actually. Over 2.5 sets, plus 123. A better way than getting to the 23.5. Talking of the sun out, the last two, you notice the sun?
Yeah, I have now, yeah.
It's gone in my eyes. I can't even see a thing. Anyway, Cam Norrie, another Brit in action, is in our final match. A Brit going in different directions to Jacob Fearnley. A man is moving down the rankings compared to Jacob Fearnley, who's moving up the rankings. He's up against Tomas Machac, minus 220 for Machac here, plus 170 for Cam Norrie. 2.5 is the spread and 22.5 is the total games. They have met once before. Cam Norrie won it 3-1 at Wimbledon in 2023. Machac did well here last year. He got to the final, got beat by Casper Ruud. He beat Novak Djokovic, he beat Mickelson. He beat Jack Draper in round one. He had a real good run to the final. Cam Norrie had a big win, though, in his last match. And he's a player that can turn it on in these type of slow conditions here. There has been a big move for Cam Norrie all day. And Bet Rivers are currently one of the best prices around at the current plus 170, which I don't think will last the hour. So before this goes live, I think they'll be shorter because there has been a big move for him across the market. Do you think that's a sensible thing to get with Cam Norrie at these kind of prices, or is Tomas Machac going to defend those points and make another charge here in Geneva?
I wasn't aware there'd been a slight move from him in the last hour or so.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Doesn't surprise me because, again, I think it's about the conditions. I liked Tomas Machac to make the final, as I talked about on the show, from this half of the draw. The problem is we always have to talk about it before the qualifiers are placed in the draw. So we don't know where the qualifiers are going to be. This is not an easy opening match for Tomas Machac if it's going to be played in slightly heavier conditions, which I can only assume that it will be. We know Cam Norrie loves a physical match, a real grind. That's his bread and butter. He loves that. And if it is heavy when this match is played, it could be tougher for Machac, who prefers the quick, slick conditions. I don't recall the weather. I mean, you were there last year. It was all right last year, wasn't it, the weather?
It was very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very pleasant.
It's not a great situation for me for Tomas Machac. There's a couple of reasons why I don't. Well, perhaps why the odds on Norrie have come in. Norrie beat him as a very short price favourite at 1.18 minus 556 in their only previous clash at Wimbledon in 2023. I don't put much store on that because Norrie was 13th in the world back then and Machac was 108. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But Machac does have what appears to be a weakness at the minute against left-handers. He's lost 5 out of his last 7 matches against left-handers, Machac. The 2 wins that he did get, both came against the young American player Lerner Tien. And if we look at what Machac has done against left-handers at main level in his career, it's not good. 5 wins, 8 losses, and a service points won and return points won total of 96. Now, if we compare that against his record against all players, left-handers and right-handers, in the at main level, his total over his career is 101. So clearly there's some sort of weakness against lefties, although he did beat Jack Draper here, as you said, last year. It's not obviously not a hard and fast rule, but the statistics that he's come up with against lefties are worrying if you're going to back him at minus 220. Again, this feels like an over 2.5 sets. I feel like if Machac is going to win this, then he's going to have to probably do it the hard way. He's going to have to roll his sleeves up and battle, because, you know, Cam Norrie is not going to give him anything. It's if it is in slow, I think it'll be a grind, probably over 2.5 sets. It just looks a tough one now for Machac. It's over 2.5 sets. It was plus 135 when I looked earlier on. Again, that's probably the way I'd go in this. That's probably why the money's coming for Cam Norrie.
A couple of long games there we expect, involving the two Brits, Fearnley and Cam Norrie, over 2.5 games. If you look at our profit and loss throughout the season, we're still slightly behind, minus 6 units, I think it is, that we are negative, but there's a lot of tennis to go. And obviously the big week we have here now is French Open. The draw will be made on Thursday. We'll be doing outright picks on Friday, first round match bets on Saturday. Not only on the Game Bet Match, also Betting Weekly WTA, myself and Rory Giovanni. Lots of coverage on Betting Weekly Tennis Live as well, Monday through to Wednesday. Betting Weekly Live as well on the non-Betting Weekly Tennis Live days. We'll cover tennis as well. So tennis is covered here on your number one sports betting channel. So you have to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get notified of every time any tennis content drops, because from now on, the football seasons are over and it's going to be all about tennis. But before the football seasons are over, we have a Betting Weekly live betcast on Wednesday night, tomorrow evening. It's the Europa League finals, Manchester United up against Tottenham. Myself, Steve Wist and James Easton will talk you through the match, watch along, give you the in-play bets, give you the pre-match betting advice, and mark your card here live tomorrow evening at 7:30 in the UK, which is 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And on Sunday, we have a live Premier League betcast, the final day of the season. We go through all the stats, all the team news, all the motivation for teams. Myself, Jack Wright, and Steve Wiss, again, will be hosting that. And we will be giving you all the best bets all the way through that on Sunday. And the kickoffs in the UK, I think, are 3:30. So it'll be around 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Kickoff 4 o'clock, coming a half hour before each of those shows. Loads more content. A massive week of winners. Everyone's cashing tickets. The Betting Weekly Studios newsletter is available. You can get on the bettingweeklystudios.com website to subscribe to it there. And the guy stateside, Doug Kazarian, smashed it last night, going 3-0 on his picks across baseball and basketball. So all the guys are in form. Sean had a winner yesterday. His tyre went burst. You know, I mean, it's all about the winners. You know, the little things test us along the way. But that's why we motivation more winners. Before we go, Sean, what are the official picks for tomorrow in Geneva?
Yeah, I'm taking on a couple of favourites at short prices. Fritz in particular, Taylor Fritz is a terrible price for me. So Quentin Halys plus 3.5 games to beat Taylor Fritz. That's going to be around about plus 138, might even be slightly bigger. Fucsovics, Marton Fucsovics to win the opening set against Novak Djokovic, plus 185 at Bet Rivers. I think that's where the value lies on Wednesday.
Yeah, so nice place there, opposing the two favourites. Sean, good luck with your sports day. I'm sure that you'll find something to complain about. Well, we'll update us tomorrow 100%. When we do our show before the French Open draw. So we're back tomorrow to look at the tournaments in Geneva and over in Hamburg. And then it's all about the major, the second major of the year, the French Open. The action continues on this, the fastest growing sports betting YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join in the fun throughout the summer, where the betting action never stops. Take care. See you all again tomorrow.